Hi, I want to welcome you to this course on Bootstrap Responsive Web Design Tutorial for Beginners. In this course, I'm going to show you how to lay out a responsive website using the Bootstrap framework. I will start by showing you how to take a standard HTML page and dive deep into how Bootstrap layout classes like the containers, rows, and the columns work. Plus, how to work with navigation by adding Bootstrap classes. You will learn how to override Bootstrap's CSS, handle those styles that you can see, as well as the classes that the Bootstrap injects into your HTML. We will learn through some challenging layout problems like using multiple grids and working with responsive layout. Finally, we are going to learn how to use Font Awesome to add social media icons and how to add Google Fonts to your Bootstrap web page. We will also learn how to create a full screen carousel that fades and is always the size of your browser windows. So if you are ready to take your Bootstrap skills to the next level, then let's get started with Bootstrap Responsive Web Design Tutorial for Beginners. Hello guys, in this video I'm going to show you how we can download and install Bootstrap on our Windows 8 or Windows 8.1 operating system. Bootstrap is one of the most popular HTML, CSS and JavaScript framework for developing responsive mobile friendly websites and web applications. So let's see how we can download and install Bootstrap on our system. So first of all, open your favorite browser and just search for Bootstrap, and the first link which will appear here will be from getbootstrap.com. So just click this link, and in here you just need to click this download Bootstrap, and you will see here three options. One is download Bootstrap, other is download source, and third one is download SAS. So one we are interested in is this one, and it's a free open source initiative, so you can download it for free. So just click this button and it's going to download a zip file for you. So click OK. Now go to the folder where you have installed this zip file and just extract this zip file wherever you want. I'm going to extract it in the same folder. And inside this folder you will be able to find three folders. One is CSS folder, other one is fonts, and third one is JavaScript. So for example, we go into the CSS folder, and in here you will be able to see some of the CSS files related to the themes and design, and this and this are important in our case whenever we want to start this Bootstrap project from the starting. This CSS file is important, this one and this one. And the basic difference between these two CSS files is the size. So basically both are almost the same files, but the size is different. One is 120 KB, and when you open this file you will be able to see it's like a miniature file and compressed file. And when you open this other bootstrap.css file, you will be able to see that it's like your normal CSS file which you can add it. But for the best practices, you may want to create your own CSS file for styling your HTML code. So once you have extracted your folder, what you can do is you can go to the same folder where you have extracted your this zip file, and inside the folder you can create a HTML file. For example, I'm going to create a new HTML file. For example, I'm going to name it as index.html. Okay, and I'm going to open this index.html, and in here we can write some code. So for the first time, what we are going to do is we are going to go to once again this website, which is getbootstrap.com, and on the right hand side you will be able to see these tabs here, and in here you will be able to see basic templates. You can click this link, and in here there is a basic example of this HTML5 which you can copy and paste it in your index.html. And in here I will make it a little bit bigger, and here you can see some tags, and you will be able to see this hello world. So let's save this file first, and let's run it into the browser. So you can, I'm using Notepad++ by the way to edit my files, but you can choose the editor you like the most. So you can either preview this HTML file by right clicking, and you can open with your favorite browser like this, and it's going to show this hello world. But this is not the simple HTML hello world. You can see some design incorporated already here, and this is how you can run your first Bootstrap HTML file. And when we go inside this HTML file, you will be able to see this line of code, and this line of code is for the responsiveness of your browser. So you can use your website on mobile, and because Bootstrap is a mobile friendly web framework, so we will go to this web page once again, and on the right hand side you will be able to see this examples here. So you can click any example, and you can choose any example from here. So for example, I'm going to choose this example, and when I shrink this browser, you will be able to see the responsiveness of the web page. So for example, on the mobile it will look something like this, and on your regular Windows browser it will look like this. So this is due to Bootstrap, and it's more responsive, right? Now once again we will go to our HTML page, and here we can see this bootstrap.min.css, which is taken from the CSS folder, and on the bottom you can see it uses jQuery for its plugin. So you can see this comment here, necessary for Bootstrap JavaScript plugins. So you need to include this jQuery file here, and the last line you can see is it's using bootstrap.min.js, and this file you can find in the JS folder in your extracted folder. Okay, so this is how you can download and install Bootstrap and run your first Bootstrap HTML page. Hello guys, welcome to the next video on Bootstrap tutorial for beginners. In the last video we have seen how to download and install Bootstrap on our Windows operating system. Now in this video we will talk about one of the most important concept in Bootstrap, which is grid system. Now in Bootstrap grid system, you can think of a Bootstrap web page like a grid, and this grid contains rows and columns. Okay, so similarly Bootstrap grid system is made up of three things. Two things are obvious. One is row and second is column, and these rows and columns are contained in a component called container. Okay, and in a Bootstrap web page, you can create up to 12 columns and unlimited amount of rows. So this is the basic rule in Bootstrap, right? Now, what is a container in Bootstrap grid system? In Bootstrap grid system, we need a container to hold rows and columns, as I have already told you. And this container is a simple div element with a class called container. Okay, so it will look like this. And in Bootstrap, there are mainly two types of containers in Bootstrap. One is a fixed container and other is a fluid container. So as the name suggests, first container with this name called container itself, it's of fixed width. Okay, and whenever you use this class called container fluid, it will take the whole width of your device which you are using. So for example, if you are using a mobile, it will take the whole width of your mobile. If you are using computer, it will take the whole width of your computer. Now let's see this in practical. So in the last video, we have seen how to create this Hello World web page in Bootstrap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a div element inside the body of our web page. So div, and inside this div element, we will call a class called container. Okay. Now inside this body of the div, I will just add this HTML tag with hello world, and I'm going to save it and I'm going to run this. And when I run this, you can see this hello world text is aligned at the center of your web page. So if you have something like a big sentence, it will be aligned at the center of your web page with a fixed width. Okay, so let's do something like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just copy this and I'm going to paste it few times, and I'm going to save it and I will refresh my page, and you can see it's nicely aligned at the center of our web page with a fixed width. Okay, now if you use this container fluid with your div element, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to container fluid. Okay, and I'm going to save this, and now once again I'm going to refresh my page, and now it takes the whole web page width of your browser. Okay, so this is the basic difference. So if you want that your content on your web page takes the whole width of the web page, then you use this class called container fluid. Or if you want that your text must be aligned nicely at the center of your web page, then you use this class called container. Okay, and remember, this will still be responsive. So when I change the width of my browser, it will be responsive. So both container and container fluid classes you can use and it will still be responsive, right? But the basic difference is this container class has a fixed width and container fluid class has a width which is the width of your browser on your device. So this is how we use containers in Bootstrap. Hello guys, welcome to the next video tutorial on Bootstrap tutorial for beginners. In the last video we have seen what is a grid system in Bootstrap and how we can use containers in Bootstrap. Now in this video we will see how we can insert rows and columns inside our container in Bootstrap. So last time I've told you that each Bootstrap web page has this container, and inside this container you can use rows and columns. And this is what makes the basis of grid system in Bootstrap. So let's try to add some rows and columns inside our container here. So I have a little sample for you how you can add the rows and columns inside your container div element. So I have told you last time that you can add as many as rows you want in a web page. So there is no restriction on adding the number of rows. And how you can add these rows? You can just add this div element and take this class called a row, and then it will add this row to your container. Okay, and you can add multiple rows. So for example, I will just add some paragraph here, random paragraph, and I will save this and I will run my web page, and in here I can see this row is added, and I can add as many number of rows as I want. So one row below other row below other. Okay, so you can add, you can copy and paste something like this and it will add as many rows as you want. So I will save this and run it, and it adds rows like this. Okay, now in order to add columns, you need to do inside the row. Okay, so for example, I will delete all the rows except for one, and in here I want to add a column. Okay, so how you do this? You do this like this. So this class you need to import, which start from col, and then comes some wildcard or asterisk which you can change, or which you have multiple options for. So for the first asterisk after this column comes the size of this column, and it depends on the device you want to use, or device on which you want to use this column. For example, you want to use it on phones, then you use access instead of this asterisk. So for example, for phone you use access, or if you want to use it for tablet you change it with SM. If you want to use for desktop of normal size, then you use MD, and if you want to use it for larger desktop, then you use LG. Okay, and the next asterisk is the column number. For example, we want to add some columns. So we already have discussed that maximum number of columns we can add to a web page is 12 in Bootstrap, right? So you can just say it can be of 6 size. So whatever number you write here, it will take it as number of columns. Okay, so for example, I write is here 6, it will take it as 6 columns. So let's make it for desktop here, and I'm going to just copy this and paste it inside my row. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this paragraph once again inside this column div. Okay, so inside this column div I'm going to paste this paragraph, and I'm going to save it and run it once again, and you can see it captures, or it takes the half the size of your page width. Okay, so for example, I give here 12, maximum 12 I can give as the column number of columns, right? And I refresh my web page, it takes the whole width like the row. Okay, and when I do something like, for example, 2, number of columns is equal to 2, it takes 2 columns here, so like this. Okay, So you can vary this number from 1 to 12. Okay, so for 12 it will be maximum, and for 1 it will be minimum, like this. Now you can add multiple columns inside your row. For example, I want to add some more columns, for example 3 columns. And first column I give the width of 2, second column I give the width of 4, and third column I give the width of 6, for example. So total of these columns is 12. 2 plus 4 plus 6 is equal to 12, right? And I will refresh my page, and you can see this is equal to 2 columns, this is equal to 4 columns, and this is equal to 6 columns. Okay, or what you can do is you can do something like 4, 4 and 4. It depends upon you. The size you can vary. So 4, 4, 4 will be equal for our text 1 and text 2 and text 3 are all equal. Okay, or you can vary 1 and 8 and 3, for example. Okay, save it, refresh the page, and it's going to take the width as you specified, right? So in this way you can use rows and column in your Bootstrap. One more thing, for example, you want to add one more row containing these columns, you can just copy this row, for example, and you can add multiple rows, something like this. Okay, and when I refresh this, it will give you 3 columns from first row, other 3 columns from second row, and other 3 columns from third row. So in this way you can use rows and columns in Bootstrap. Hello guys, welcome to the next video on Bootstrap tutorial for beginners. In this video we will see how to use a nav bar or navigation bar on our web page using Bootstrap. So first of all, what is a nav bar or navigation bar? So whenever you open a web page, you will be able to see some kind of navigation bar at the top like this, where your brand name will be there and some category or navigation options are there, like home, about, or some other options. And you have this drop down menu here, and when you collapse your web page like this, it should become responsive, so you will be able to see this button, and when you click this button you will be able to see your menu item like this also. So let's see how we can create this navigation bar in Bootstrap. So I have deleted all the content from the body, and right now I have nothing inside my body here. So I will start from the scratch here. And first of all, to add a navigation bar, we need to add a element called nav like this, and we need to include this class called navbar, and this navbar minus default is one kind of navigation bar. There are different version or different types of navigation bar, and default is just one type. We will see some other types also. And this navbar fixed at the top, we will see. Let's add this element to our body first, and I will just remove this. And you know what this container does. I have explained you in the last video what is the purpose of this container, right? So let's save it and let's run it on our browser. So this will add this kind of navigation bar on your browser. Okay, now this default navbar default is the feel or look and feel of this navigation bar here. Okay, and navbar fixed top means that your navigation bar will be fixed on the top even when you scroll down, you will always see this navigation bar. Your content will be, up and down, but this will always, visible to the user. Now there are some options like navbar inverse, and what this does, once we refresh the page, you will see this navbar changes to some dark theme. Okay, so if you want this dark theme, you can use navbar inverse. Okay, right now I will use this default, and when you do instead of fixed here, you can use static. And what this will do is, whenever you scroll down your web page, this navbar will also scroll, and it will disappear once you go down to see the content, right? So for fixed, it will be always visible, and for static, it will be scroll down. Okay, now in order to add this button, which I was talking about, so when we collapse this, and we will be able to see this button, let's add this button to our navigation bar. Okay, so inside the container we need to add this button, and this button we can add it like this. So I will just add it and explain you what this button is doing in a moment. So just add this button element here, and type of this element is button itself. We will add a class called navbar toggle. Okay, so this represents navbar toggle, and we add two more things here. One is data toggle, which will reference to collapse, and data target, which will be navbar collapse, and this we are going to create. Okay, so once we expand this web page, we want to see these items, and this collapse and navbar collapse will reference to these items once we expand our web page. So for now, let's leave them, but we are going to use them in the later section. Okay, so let's save this and let's see how our page looks right now. So refresh the page, and when I collapse it, it will add this button, but we are not seeing any bar here, free bars, right, like these. So what we need to do in order to add these three bars, inside your button you need to add this span. So this is the recommended span you need to add, which is span class SR only, which is screen reader only, and then you can give any name, for example toggle navigation, and then you can add this icon, bar icon you can say, to your button. So when I refresh this page, it will give me one bar. Okay, so one span gives me one bar, and I'm including icon minus bar class here. Okay, and if I just paste it two more times, then when I refresh this page, I can see three bars like this. So this is my nav bar toggle or button. Okay, now we want to add our brand name, for example, first, and then the items here on the right. So to add the brand name, just below this button item, you can add this like this here. And what this is going to do is, it's going to call this navbar brand, and you can give any reference to your whenever user clicks your this item here, this will reference to this web page, for example www.programmingknowledge.org, right, something like this. Okay, and this is the title which will appear there. Okay, so once we save it, we are going to refresh our web page, and we can see this programming knowledge brand name here, right? Now our brand name is added. Now we want to add some navigation menu items. Okay, so to add those menu items, first we add a div tag. And if you remember, I was talking about this collapse toggle, data toggle and data target. We are going to add this now. So just below this brand name item, here you add this div element just below this, and this will add your navigation collapse. So you see this collapse will reference to this one, and this nav bar collapse will reference to this, right? And inside this div element, we want to add a unordered list which will be aligned on the right. So we will add this line and just close this unordered list. And what this is going to do, this is going to align your list on the right hand side. So nav bar minus nav minus right, and if you do it left, it will align your nav bar to the left. And inside this unordered list, we need to add some list item. So for list item, you can add this element called li. Okay, and you need to include this class called active. And what this is going to do is it's going to make your menu item active, and we will see in a bit what effect it adds. And then you can add a href here, and right now I'm going to add a blank reference or this hash, or otherwise you can add your website name here /home. So this will reference to the home page of your website, and then your home menu name, so just home for example, and just add this reference, and then just add and this unordered list items, okay. And what this is going to do, let's save it and let's refresh our page, and this is going to add this home menu item here, and you can see it's selected, or it's active right now, right? Because it's giving the effect that this home item is clicked, right? So when we leave this list item as empty class and just refresh the page, it will not be selected. Okay, so this active we add to show that this item is active right now. Okay, now in the same way you can add some more list item, for example about, and this time I haven't added any let's leave it as default like this, and I haven't added any class active here, right? So once I refresh the page, I can see this is active and this is not active, right? And so now we want to add a drop down menu, for example, in our navigation bar. How we can do this? So there is first of all list item, so we will add a list item here, and we will end this list item with this closing tag, and we have included this class called drop down. Okay, and this will add a drop down menu item to your nav bar, right? Now first of all we will add this item here like about, so I will just copy this, and I will explain you everything one by one. So for now, let's remove this thing. Okay, and this thing. Okay, so what I am doing here, I'm creating a href here, and what it's doing, you can provide any reference or website URL here. So for example, when I click this toggle menu, it will go to the web page related to this learn menu item, right? And we are importing this class called drop down toggle. So when somebody clicks this learn button, this toggle or all the items in this menus should toggle or should collapse, or if they are collapsed already, they should contract back or something like this. We will see what it's doing in a bit. Let's save it and let's refresh it, and we have learn. But right now it's like same as these other menu item, home and about. Nothing we can see which says that it's a drop down menu. And for making it look like a drop down, we add this class called caret. Okay, so let's add a class which will be bold after this learn. So just add this, and which is with the bold item, for example. Okay, so add this class called caret and refresh this page. It will add this small triangle here, and now user will see, and yeah, he will come to know that it's a drop down menu. So he can once this clicked, this class is called drop down toggle, and it will toggle your drop down menu. Okay, now inside the drop down menu we have to add some menu items, right? So to add a menu item, it's the same procedure like these, right? Unordered list, and inside unordered list some list items. So this time we will add this unordered list like this, just below your reference, and I will just close it, UL with backslash. And inside this unordered list, first of all, I am using this class called drop down menu, which indicates that it's a drop down menu. And then in the list item, first of all, we can add a list item. First of all, we can have some header list item. So we can add li, and we call a class called drop down header. Okay, so drop down minus header. Okay, and this shows that it's a drop down header for your menu item, right? And for this you can add any name, for example examples, and just close your list item like this. And then we have some normal menu item inside your menu, right? So we can add some menu items like this, list items, and these are normal list items. These are not headers or something. So whenever somebody clicks the C++, it will go to the C++ page, for example programmingknowledge.org/cpp or /java. So let's save it and let's see what happens. Refresh the page, and I can see this first of all header, which is example, and then sub menu item, you can say. So C++ and Java, right? Let's add in the same way one more header. So just copy all these three things and paste it like this, and this time, for example, I say tutorials. Okay, save it and refresh the page, and I can see two headers, drop down headers, example and tutorial, and then some sub menu item, C++, Java, and C++ and Java, for example. And when I collapse this, I can see this button, and when I click this button, I can see menu items once again. I can see the drop down menu here, and it will work like this. Okay, so in this way you can add a navigation bar or nav bar to your Bootstrap. Hello guys, welcome to the next video on Bootstrap tutorial for beginners. In the last video we have seen how we can create a nav bar using Bootstrap. Now in this video we will see how we can create a footer using Bootstrap. So for example, you want a footer in which you want to write your copyright message or something else. How we can do it, let's see. So I will start with the code which I have written in the last video. This was the code I have written in the last video, and just below this code I will add the code for footer. Okay, so what's first of all I need is this div element, and in here I need to add a same class which we have added for the navigation bar on the top. Okay, so I will copy this class from here and paste it here, and this class is navbar minus default navbar minus fixed minus top. But because it's our fixed footer, we want to make this top as bottom, so it will be fixed at the bottom of your web page. Okay, so bottom. Okay, and let's see, instead of default we want this time inverse. So let's save our page and let's see how our footer looks like. So I will refresh the page, and now we can see this footer here in the black. Right now, as we know, we need to add once again this div element, and this time we will add the class called container, because as I've told you, in order to align your text inside your navbar, you need this container. And now suppose we want to add a paragraph here, so just add a paragraph tag, and in here you can write your copyright message, for example copyright, and your website name, for example programming knowledge. Okay, and for example you want to write the year, and just save it and then refresh your page, and you will be able to see this black message here, but it's not fully aligned, right? So for that, what we are going to do is we will add one more div element here, so div, and we will add a class called navbar text pull left. Okay, and I'm going to close this div and close it from the bottom here, and then I will save it and I will refresh my web page, and now I can see my copyright message clear at the center, right? Hello guys, welcome to the next video on Bootstrap tutorial for beginners. In this video we will see how to use Jumbotron in Bootstrap. So let's get started. Till now we have made our navigation bar and footer. So I will write this code between the navigation bar code and the footer code. So just go between that, and in here just add a div tag here. So div class, and we will import the container class here, so container, and after this container we will just close this div tag, and inside this div tag we will add one more div tag, And this time, instead of container, we will add a class called Jumbotron. Okay, and I will save it, and I will just open it in my browser, and you will see a small gray area just below your navigation bar, which is this one, and this is due to this Jumbotron class. So Jumbotron you can use whenever you want to highlight some content in your web page, right? And for example, you want to add some HTML markup inside your Jumbotron. How you can do it? You can do it easily. For example, h1 tag. So I will just add a h1 tag like this, and I will just write something. So hello world, for example. Okay, and I will save it, and I will refresh this page. Now you will see this hello world like this. Okay, but right now this hello world is not aligned at the center. Right now it's aligned as a default on the left, right? So to align this hello world on the center, you just need to just go after this Jumbotron and just add text minus center. Okay, so text center, and save it and refresh your page, and now your text is aligned at the center, right? Now sometimes you may want to cover whole width of your web page using Jumbotron. Right now it's leaving this white area and this white area on the left and right hand side. So to cover this, what you need to do is you just need to just cut your Jumbotron div tag from here and just paste it above your container, right? So earlier it was below the container, right? Just paste it above the container, and now what will happen? Let's refresh the page, and you see it covers the whole width of your web page. So it's on you what kind of Jumbotron design you want, right? Now you are seeing here, you may observe here that this Jumbotron is merging with your nav bar, right? So in order to resolve this, not a problem, but this little confusion, what we can do is we can make a new CSS class, which is our custom CSS class. So I will make a new custom CSS. So I will save it as custom.css, right? And I will save it inside my CSS folder in my Bootstrap folder. So this is my CSS folder inside my Bootstrap, where my Bootstrap CSS and other CSS files are saved. And this custom CSS file, I will save it there, right? And then in the index.html file, I will just include this custom.css file. So go to the location where you have included your bootstrap.min.css file, and in here I will just copy and paste this bootstrap.min.css, and instead of bootstrap.min.css I will just add custom.css, right? Custom.css. So it will include this custom.css, which is also in the CSS folder in your Bootstrap folder. And now you just need to go to your custom.css, and you just need to give some style to it. So to the body, just write body here, and to the body we will add a style padding top, and we will add, for example, 70 px here, so 70 pixel. And to the padding bottom we will add 20 pixel. Okay, so 20 px. Okay, and now save this, and once again refresh your page, and now you will see between your navigation bar and your Jumbotron there is a padding here, there is a space here. Okay, so if you want to add some padding here, you can add it like this. Now, for example, you want to add some more content to your Jumbotron. You can just add some more HTML text. For example, I will add a paragraph tag here, which I have already created just below this h1 tag. Okay, and this is some random text, and I will save it, and then I will refresh my page, and now it will look like this. Okay, so you can add your HTML markup to this Jumbotron like this. You can add buttons, you can add some different tables or any HTML markup here, and I will show you in the next video how you can add buttons to this Jumbotron or to this Bootstrap web page in general. Hello guys, welcome to the next video on Bootstrap tutorial for beginners. In the last video we have seen how to use Jumbotron in Bootstrap. Now in this video we will see how to use and create different kind of buttons in Bootstrap. So let's get started. I will go to my index.html code, and in the last video I have written this div in which I have imported this class called container, right? And inside this container I have created this Jumbotron class and some content inside the Jumbotron. Okay, so what I'm going to do is inside my container which I've created in the last video, and below my Jumbotron I will create some div element which will contain some buttons. So let's create a div element first, div, and it's going to import a class called page header. Okay, page header. Now inside my div element I will just include a h1 tag, and I will just include the button text, and now just below my page header tag or div tag I will create a, for example, paragraph tag here, and inside my paragraph tag I will create some buttons. So to create buttons we need to include this button element, and then we need to specify the type of button we want to create. So type is equal to button, right? And then we will create a class, or we will import a class which is called btn, and then btn minus default. Okay, and now I will close my button tag, and in here you can also give some text. So once you do this, I'm going to save my index.html file and I'm going to run it in Firefox, for example, and you can see the default button looks like this. Okay, so to add button we need to add this element called button, and type is equal to button, and then comes the class button, and right now we have created default button, but there are different kind of buttons you can create in Bootstrap. For example, primary button, success, info, or warning, or danger, or a link button. So we are going to see how we can create all, and we are also going to see how we can create different size of buttons. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste the same line I think 7 times. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7, right? And the second button type is, instead of default you can use primary. So primary, and I will write here also primary. Third button type is success. Okay, so I will just write success here. Fourth button type is info, so info, and here also info. Fifth button type is warning, warning, and here also warning. And sixth button type is danger, danger, And the last button type is link. So link. Now I'm going to save my page once again, and I'm going to refresh my web page, and let's see what happens. So now you can see different kind of button in different colors. So default button is our default without any color, and primary button is this dark blue color here, and success button looks like this. This is info button, next is warning, danger, and this is our link. Okay, now this is the standard size of button in Bootstrap. Now if you want to have a different size of button, for example little bit larger than this button or little bit smaller than this button, then what we need to do, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all these button including my paragraph tag here and just paste it below once again. Okay, and to this button element and to this class we just need to add one more attribute, which we call it as btn minus lg. Okay, and lg is for large button. Okay, so I will do the same for every button here, btn lg, and for all buttons. Okay, and I will save my code and refresh my page, and you can see some large buttons are displayed now. So these are the default size buttons and these are the large size buttons. Now if you want a small size button, what we can do here is I'm going to just copy this paragraph tag including the button once again and paste it here, and this time instead of btn lg I want to include btn sm, and sm stands for small, so I will just include small sm for every button, sm. Okay, and when I refresh my page I can see small buttons here, right? So default, large, and small. Now if you want extra small buttons, you have one more class for extra small, so I will copy this once again and paste it below, and instead of sm I will just say xs. Okay, so it's extra small, so I will just include xs everywhere and here, and I will save it and refresh my page, and I can see extra small buttons like this. Okay, so these are the four standard size buttons in Bootstrap you can use: default size, large, small, and extra small. Okay, now if you want to add some buttons to your Jumbotron, you can do it easily. You just need to have one type of button. For example, I will copy these two type of button, and inside my Jumbotron div in here just below my paragraph tag I can add these two button elements. One is primary and one is success, for example. Save it and refresh it, and you can see inside the Jumbotron I have these two buttons, primary and success. You can edit your own text here, any text you can write. For example, I will say for primary I will say click me, and for success I will say thank you, for example. Okay, save it, refresh it once again, and text is changed, click me and thank you. Hello guys, welcome to the next video on Bootstrap tutorial for beginners. In the last video we have seen how to use buttons in Bootstrap. Now in this video we will see how we can add staked column using grid system in our Bootstrap page. So for example, you want to add some articles here in your web page which are horizontally stacked. How we can do it, let's see. So I'm going to go to my code here, And in the previous video I have shown you how you can add this container, and inside this container I have this jumbotron div element. So I will go inside this container, and just below this jumbotron div element I'm going to create a new div element, div, and I'm going to add a class which is row. Okay, and I'm going to close this div. Now inside this row div element I'm going to create one more div element for the column. So just I will paste one more div element, and this time this is for column. So for column we add first of all col, and then the size, for example md, and then the number of columns. So for example we want to use 4 columns, then we give 4 here. Okay, and inside my column div element I'm going to add a h3 tag, and in here I will write head 1, for example, for heading 1, and just below this h3 tag I'm going to add a paragraph, for example something like this, and I'm going to save this, and I'm going to run it on my web page, and it will look like this. Okay, and in the same way you can add multiple columns inside your row, right? So this is our first column, which has the column width of 4, or you can say it's covering 4 columns, right? And if you remember in the video in which I have shown you how to use grid system, I have told you that maximum you can have 12 column inside a row, right? So 4 we have already covered, so we can add 8 more. So I'm going to copy this column div element inside the row and just paste it below my column element 3 times. Okay, and save it, and then I will refresh my web page, and what it's going to do is it's going to add these 3 staked column. Right now when I resize this, so just observe when I resize it, when it goes to medium, it this horizontal columns stakes to vertical columns, right? So because we have given col minus md here, md stands for medium, so whenever your browser size is medium, it's going to stake vertically, right? So if you can see here, this is, you can say it's a large browser size, and then when it goes to medium size like here, then your columns are stacked vertically, right? Now if you want to stack these columns when this browser size will be small, for example something like this, then what you can do is instead of md you can add sm, and sm stands for small. Okay, so sm, sm and sm, and just save it, and I'm going to refresh my web page once again. And what I'm going to do is once again I'm going to shrink my browser, and you see at the medium size browser it's still staked horizontally, right? But when we shrink towards the smaller size, then it will stake vertically, right? So medium you use whenever you want to stake vertically at the medium size, and small you use whenever you want to stake at the small size, right? So one more thing which is remaining here is you can add some button to this column just below your paragraph here. So I'm going to just go below my paragraph, and in here I can add this button of type button, but this will be, for example, danger, right? So you can perform some action with this button. Okay, so here, here and here, and I'm going to save it and refresh my web page, and it's going to add this button. So when our browser is of large size, it will look like this, and this will look nice. Hello guys, welcome to the next video on Bootstrap tutorial for beginners. In this video, we will see how to add thumbnails and images in your Bootstrap web page. So let's get started. For example, I want some thumbnail for my theme here, or this theme 1, theme 2 and theme 3 here. So for example, I'm making some tutorial website, so I want to add some code related thumbnail or image, and then I want to give the headings something like Java or C++ or something else, right? So how do I do it? Let's see. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my project folder where all my Bootstrap file are located, and then in here I have the CSS folder, fonts folder and JavaScript folder. I'm going to add one more folder here, so add a new folder and name it as img for images, right? And inside this img folder, paste your images which you want to add to your website. So for example, I want to add these three images, and then I will go to my index.html, and in here in the last video I have added these three columns inside this row, right? And inside the column I have this head tag and this paragraph, right? So above this h3 tag I will add this link thumbnail. So I will add my image as thumbnail in the form of a link. So I will add first of all this link a href, and for now I will point to a hash, but you can point to your web page here, right? And then add a class called thumbnail and close your link tag, and inside this link element I'm going to add an image element, so img, and then my source for the image, so src is equal to, and in the double quotes the location of your image, so it's in my image folder, img slash the name of your image file. So for example, I have cpp.jpg, java.jpg and python.jpg. So first of all I'm going to add cpp.jpg, and you can also add the description using this alt tag. So for example, cpp tutorial, and close this tag here and save your code, and we will run it in the browser, and once you run it you will see your image here, right? Now in the same way I can add two more images here and here, so I will just copy this code from here and add to the other two columns, so like this. And I'm also going to change this h3 text here. For example, first is for C++, second is for Java, so I will change the name of this file java.jpg, and this is Java tutorial, and third one for example is python.jpg and Python tutorial, right? And I will change this h head1 to Python, and this here I will replace it with Java, for example. Save your code and refresh your web page, and now you can see these images on your web page. Now when you shrink your browser, let's see what happens. So I'm shrinking, and when it goes to medium size, it will adjust the size of your image also. So you see the image size is also adjusting dynamically, right? Hello guys, welcome to the next video on Bootstrap tutorial for beginners. In this video, we will see how we can add social media icons to our website using Font Awesome. So first of all, what we need to do is we need to install Font Awesome. So go to your favorite browser and search for Font Awesome. And the first link will be here from Font Awesome, right? So just click this link. And in here, just go to icons. So in here, you can see there are plenty of icons which you can use in your Bootstrap web page, right? So for now, we want to use a social media icon, for example, Facebook icon or Twitter or Google Plus or some other social media icons. So for example, we have this Facebook icon here. I can click it and I can add this Facebook icon using this code, right? And you can also see some examples how you can manipulate this icon in different style, for example, bigger size or smaller size, or let's click this example here. And here you can see you can size your icon in different sizes, or there are different styles which you can use with your icons. So here all the examples are given. Now first of all, we need to install Font Awesome to have these icons on our Bootstrap web page. So what we need to do is just click this Get Started button here. So Get Started. And in here there are different options of having Font Awesome on your web page. First is the simplest way. You just need to copy this link here and add it to your web page. Or otherwise you can download this Font Awesome CSS and then add it to your web page. So we will just choose this option for now, which is using the link. So just copy this and go to your index.html file and go to the top where you have all the CSS link here. So just below this, you can add this link for Font Awesome, right? So this will include Font Awesome CSS to your web page, and now you are ready to use these social media icons, right? Now we are going to add these social media icons, for example, to the footer here. Okay, so for that we need to go to our footer code, which we have written in the previous videos. This was the footer code, and our brand is on the left hand side, so we can add these social icons on the right hand side. So go inside the container, and I'm going to copy this div element for a navbar text and then paste it here. And this time, instead of pull left, I'm going to have pull right, so right. Okay, so this is going to add these social media icons on the right hand side. Okay, and instead of this, I'm going to add these icons in the form of a link, right? So we need to add this link tag here, and then you can add your icons, right? So first of all, I'm going to close this link, and now go to the Font Awesome website and select your icon and just copy this code from here, right? So I'm going to copy this code for adding this icon and paste it inside this link tag. Okay, and this is simple. So I'm going to save it and I'm going to refresh my web page here. So refresh it. Now we can see that this icon is a little bit smaller than the size of our footer. So if you want the bigger size for this icon, what we can do is just go to the Font Awesome website once again, and in here go to examples, and in here when you drag down, you can see how you can have bigger icons. Okay, so to make your icon bigger, you have these options. this will increase your icon size by 2. This will increase the icon size by 3x and 4x and 5x. For example, we want to increase the size by 2x. Just copy this fa minus 2x, go to your code and add it with your class name, right? Save it, and then once again refresh your web page and you will have the bigger icon size, right? In the same way, you can search for more social media icon and add it to your web page. So for example, if I want some more social media icons like this, you can replace this by Twitter or Google Plus, and then you can have these social media icons. And now I have replaced these icons with Twitter icon and Google Plus icon. Save this and refresh my web page, and I can have all these 3 social media icons: Facebook, Twitter and Google Plus, right? Hello guys, welcome to the next video on Bootstrap tutorial for beginners. In this video we will see how we can add a carousel on our Bootstrap web page. So let's get started. First of all, I will go to my index.html page, and from here I will remove this jumbotron div element, because in place of this we are going to add a carousel, and then add a div element here. First of all, let's define the ID. So ID, and give some name to your ID, for example my carousel, and then include a class called carousel slide. And then one more thing we need to add is data minus ride, and this will be equal to carousel. Okay, so add this div element, and inside this div element, first of all we are going to add the indicators, and to add indicators we need to add this ordered list element. So just add OL and include a class called carousel indicator, and inside this ordered list we need to add some list items. And for the list item we need to add first of all data target, and our data target is what we have defined above. So we have defined my carousel here, so our data target will be this, and then we want to add the data slide number. Okay, so data slide 2 equal to, and set it to 0 for now for the first slide, and then just copy this list item from here and paste it 3 times, because we are going to show 3 carousel pictures, and you just need to change the number here, slide number 0, 1, 2. Okay, and to set which slide will be active, we can set this slide as active. So whatever slide you want that this slide should be active initially, then you can add this class active to it. Class is equal to, now just below this ordered list we are going to add one more div element, and this will be for our pictures, for example. And now add a class called carousel inner, and inside this div element we are going to add one more div element for the item. So just add class item here. Okay, and for the active item which you want active, you just add active. Okay, and this I will explain a little bit later when we see the demo. And here you can add the source for your image, so just add image tag here, and then as a source you can add the location of your pictures. So for example, I have some pictures to show as the carousel, picture 1, 2 and 3, and make sure these pictures are of same resolution, so whenever these picture slides over each other, the size of this picture will be same. Okay, so this is in my image folder of my Bootstrap folder. Okay, so I can give the location as img slash 1.jpg. Okay, in the same way you can add more pictures. So just copy this div element and paste it to more times, and you just need to change the name of your picture 2 and picture 3. One more thing you need to remember here is you just remove the active from other two slides and just leave this active class to only one image, right? Otherwise all three images will be active. And in here I think this should be carousel indicators. So carousel minus indicators. Okay, so just change it to carousel minus indicators. Okay, and let's save our code and run it. And now it looks like this. So you have your first image which is active, and you have these three indicators, right? We haven't added any controls to this carousel, and now we are going to add these controls to our carousel. Okay, now for adding the controls to our carousel images, what we need to do is we just need to go below our inner carousel div element, and we are going to add it as a link. So just add a and add a class called left carousel control, and then add a href or reference which refer to our ID called my carousel, which is this one, and this will be the button for our carousel slide, and the data slide of this carousel will be previous, right? And inside this, what we can do is we can add a span here and just add this class called glyphicon space glyphicon minus chevron minus left, and this is for adding this image to the left hand side, which will be like a previous button, right? And same, we just copy this link element from here, paste it down, and instead of left, now we are going to do it right. So right, and this data slide will be next, and instead of left image we will add a right image. Okay, and now just save your program and open it in the browser, and now we will be able to see our carousel images. So this is our first image which is active, and this is our indicator which was active, and then you can change from these buttons these images. So this is our second image and this is our third image, and these are the indicator which changes with the image. So first indicator for first image, second indicator for second image, and third indicator for third image, right? And if you wait for some time, they will change automatically. So our carousel is working now, and we can add some more properties to this carousel. For example, the interval for changing these slides. So just go to your carousel div element here, and here you can add an attribute called data interval, and here you can set the time in millisecond. So for example, I set it here 1000 millisecond, which is 1 second. So your slide will change in 1 second, right? So I will refresh my page, and now you will be able to see it's changing every second, right? So here you can manage your time, what time interval you want to give to change the carousel image. One more thing which you can do is you can add the caption to your carousel. So just go to your carousel inner class, and inside your item here, for example this item which has image 1, just below your image element, add a div tag here, and instead of item active, you can add this class called carousel caption, right? And in here you can use any HTML tag, for example h1, and for example you can say theme 1. Okay, and same we can do for other items also. So just copy this carousel caption class and go to image 2, just below this paste it, and just below image 3 also paste it, and this is theme 2 and this is theme 3. Okay, save your code and run it once again, and now you will be able to see that there is a caption theme 1 here, theme 2 here, and theme 3 here. So you can even add your captions or your text in your carousel image. Hello guys, welcome to the next video on Bootstrap tutorial for beginners. In this video we will see how we can add and incorporate Google Web Fonts on our Bootstrap web page. Now first of all, what is Google Web Font? Google Web Font is the family of hundreds and hundreds of fonts which you can use freely on your website. So first of all, to add Google Web Font, what you need to do is you need to just search Google Web Fonts, and most probably the first link which will appear here will be from google.com/fonts. So click this link, and if you want to know more about Google Web Font, you can just click about here, and here you can see the description. Okay, so I will go back here, and in here you can find all the fonts which are available here, and you can even see here there are right now 703 fonts family are available, and these are all sorted by the popularity. Okay, so you can sort them by popularity or alphabet or date added or trending fonts. Okay, and the most popular font right now is Open Sans, right? So we are going to add this Open Sans to our paragraph tag, for example. So to add it, you can go to this small button here which says quick use. So click this, and in here you can choose the style you want. Okay, so by default this option is already selected, which is normal, but you can choose multiple options here. But take a look at this meter here. When you choose multiple option, this meter reading increases, and it indicates the load on your website or web page loading time. Okay, so as you increase the number of options, this page loading will increase, in the sense it will take more time to load. Okay, so just choose whatever you want, right? So for example, I want just this normal fonts, and it's in the green zone, so it's okay. And now just scroll down, and this is the simple link code which you can add to your web page. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to go to my index.html and just add this link code to your HTML page. Okay, so this will add this Open Sans font family to your web page. Now we need to add or change our CSS file also. So I'm going to open my CSS file, and in my CSS file what I need to do is I just need to copy the code from here for the CSS, which is integrate the font into your CSS. So just copy this code from here and go to your CSS file, and just, for example, I want to add it to the paragraph tag, so I can just add it like this, and in here you can just copy and paste this code here, right? And just save it, and I'm going to run my HTML page on my browser, and you can see this font here is changed to Open Sans, because this is a paragraph and it's inside the paragraph tag. So this font will change to Open Sans, which we have added. So to see the difference, we can go to our page which we have earlier, which was this, and this was the font family earlier before adding Google font, and now this looks like this. Okay, so it's changed to Open Sans. Now, for example, you want to add some more fonts, you can once again go to your Google font site, and once again you can search for your font family which you want to add. For example, this one, Oswald, and go to here, quick use, and I want to use this normal, or I want to use this bold option here, right? And I want to use it for my header tag. Okay, so I will copy this code once again, paste this link in my HTML page, and I will go to my CSS file, and for example I want to add this for h1 tag, so I will just add here h1 and just copy the font CSS code from here. So just copy this and paste it into your CSS file here. Okay, and I'm going to once again run my web page, and you can see this h1 tag is changed. So here I was using h1 tag for displaying hello world. Earlier it was like this, but after incorporating this font it will look like this. Now for example, you want to add this font for other header tags, for example h2 and h3 tags. You can just go to your CSS file and just add this h2 tag here. Okay, so you can add these font family to your CSS file like this. Okay, save it, and once again run your page, and then it will change this other h2 and h3 tags also like this. It was earlier like this, and now it looks like this. Hello guys, welcome to the next video on Bootstrap tutorial for beginners. In this video we will see how we can use and add glyph icons to our Bootstrap web page. Now glyph icons are also a set of icons which is provided by Bootstrap, which we can add to our web page. For example, I want to add some button, and instead of this text I want to add some icon on it. I can use glyph icons for that. We have already learned how to add font awesome icons to our website like this for Facebook, Twitter or Google Plus, and in this video we will see how to add glyph icons to our buttons or any other components. So for getting glyph icons, you just need to search for Bootstrap glyph icons, and the first link will be for that, which is bootstrap.com/components. Click this link, and in here you can find over 250 icons from Bootstrap, and you can add these icons to your buttons or other components. So for example, I want to add this icon to my button, click me and thank you, and I will go to my HTML file, and in here I was using this click me and thank you button. Okay, so to add a glyph icon you need to add a span just before this text click me. So just add a span here, and in here you need to add this class is equal to the name of the glyph icon. Okay, so you need to go to this page and choose your favorite icon. For example, I want to choose this glyph icon user item. So just copy this class name and paste it in here as a class name in your span. Okay, and you can save it and you can refresh your web page, and now you can see this icon added to your button. For better visualization, you can add some space here, so it will be spaced evenly like this. And we can add in the same way for our second button, which is thank you, some other glyphicon. Okay, so we can go to here, and for example I want to add this OK glyphicon, or for example you can choose some other glyphicon, whatever you like. I'm adding this for now, and I will go to my page, and instead of this I will replace this by OK. Okay, and save it and refresh your page, and this is added to your button. Now changing the size of this glyphicon is exactly the same as changing the font or style of any other component. For example, you want to make it little bit bigger, you can add a style here. So just add style, and for example I want to change the font size. You can just change the font size as you can change it with any other text. Okay, so font size is equal to 30 px, for example. I will save it and refresh it, and the size of this icon is changed. Okay, in same way I can change the size of this other button, and for example I want to change the name to blank. For example I have no name, I just want to show the icon. I can just remove the name from there, and it will look like this, which looks really nice, right? Now in order to change the color, you just need to add one more attribute. Color is equal to, for example, red, and save it and refresh it, and the color of this icon becomes red. Okay, or you want blue or any other color, you can add it in a same way. Okay, so save it and refresh your web page, and it will become blue. Hello guys, welcome to the next video on Bootstrap tutorial for beginners. In this video we will see how to use panels in Bootstrap. A panel is kind of a box which is bordered, and you can add some tables or any component inside this panel. So for example, we want to add a panel just below our Jumbotron here. How we can do it, let's see. So first of all, go to your HTML file, and inside your container, just below the Jumbotron, we can add one more div element here, and this will be our row. So class is equal to row. Okay, and inside this row we are going to add one more div tag, and in here we will add a class called panel space panel minus default. Okay, so this will be the bare body of a panel. Now inside a panel you can add a body of a panel, heading of the panel, and the footer for the panel. So first of all we will add the body of the panel. So just add a div element like this, and in here just add a class called panel minus body, and this will be the body of the panel. And in here you can add your content, for example body of panel. Okay, and you can save it and run it into your browser, and the basic panel will look like this. Now we can add some header and footer to our panel, and how we can do it, we can add just above our body div element, we can add one more div element for the header. So class is equal to panel heading for the heading, and just below the body you can add the div element for adding the footer. So class is equal to panel minus footer. Okay, and in the heading you can add some heading, for example heading, and for footer you can add something like this. Okay, save it and refresh your page, and this will be the heading of your panel, and this will be the footer for your panel. Okay, now for example, we want to add some more attractive component, for example, h3 tag or h1 tag, or some tables or something else inside the body. So let's see how we can add our title, for example, here in the heading. So once again, I will just make a space here. And for example, I want to add a h3 tag. So I will just add this h3 tag, and I will add a class called panel title. Okay, and in here whatever title you give, it will be displayed as a panel title. So refresh your page and it will be like this. Okay, or for example you want to add some paragraph inside the body. Instead of this content, you can just copy a paragraph, and in the body element, div element, just add this paragraph tag and add your paragraph. Save it and refresh your page, and this paragraph will look like this. In the same way, you can add other components like lists or tables or any other HTML tag. Okay, in the same way you can modify the footer also with the element or component of your choice. Now panel also has different taste and styles. So let's see how we can add different styles to panels. So I will just revert this paragraph, and I will just add my previous body of the panel, which is very small. And what I'm going to do now is I will just copy this panel from this panel minus default. Just copy this code from here and just paste it below. Okay, 1 2 3 and 4, for example. So first kind of panel was default, right? Second kind of panel can be primary. As we have seen, there are different kind of buttons like default, primary, warning, success, or info. In the same way, we can give styles to panel in the same way. Default, primary, third can be success, fourth can be warning, and fifth can be, for example, info. Okay, and save it and refresh your page, and you can see different kind of panel. This is the default one, this is the primary, this is success panel, this is warning panel, and this is our info panel. So these are the different kind of panels you can add to your Bootstrap web page. Now in order to add this panel in alongside each other, what you can do is, for example, we want 3 panels in one row and 3 panels in the second row. Okay, so what we can do is we can add this div tag, and this will be our class for the column, right? So call sm minus 4. Okay, and just close your column div tag from here, and in the same way you can just do the same for the other div column. So here, and end it here, and once again copy this and end it at the end of your panel. Okay, so this is our one row, right? And we can add our row instead of here, right? And let's say we just want 3 columns and we don't want this to other panels. Save it and refresh your page, and it will be 3 panels in a row. Okay, in the same way you can add one more row of 3 panels, and in the same way you can add multiple rows of panels. Hello guys, welcome to the next video on Bootstrap tutorial for beginners. In this video we will see how to use wells and alerts in Bootstrap. So first of all, we will do the easy thing, which is adding well to our Bootstrap page. And to add well, you just need to add a div tag and then add a class called well. Okay, and whatever you write inside this div element, it will be surrounded by a bordered box with the gray background. So for example, I can say this is a well. Okay, I save my code and refresh it, and the well looks like this. So it's a bordered box with the gray background. You can say it's more or less like a jumbotron, but you can add this anywhere in your web page, right? Now you can add more things, right, like paragraph or h1 tag. For example, I will add h1 tag, and inside h1 tag I will add this thing. Okay, save it and refresh your page, and it'll look like this. Okay, so this is about wells. Now, how to add alerts in your Bootstrap web page. So once again, add a div element and then add a class called alert, and then you can add some attribute to alert. For example, alert danger. Okay, and you can just say this is a danger alert. Okay, save it and refresh your web page, and the alert will look like this. Okay, in the same way you can add success info and other alerts. So just copy this and paste it here, and instead of danger you can add success or warning or once more info. Okay, and I can say this is success alert, this is warning alert, and this is info alert. Save your code and refresh your page, and the alert will look like this. Okay, now you can add some property to close the alert also. So you can add some kind of indicator here, cross or X symbol here, to close the alert. So to add this closing symbol to your alert, what you can do is you can add, first of all, let's separate this, and just above your message you can add a link tag a, and you can add first of all href, and this will be hash in our case, and then add a class called close, and then add a attribute called data minus dismiss, and make it is equal to alert, and then add one more attribute called area label, which will be is equal to close. Okay, and then to add this X symbol at the right hand side of the alert, what you can do is you can add and then times and then semicolon, and this is equal to X in HTML. Okay, so save your code and refresh it, and you can see here there is a little X symbol on the right hand side, and when we click this X symbol it should close, and we clicked it and it doesn't close. So let's see what's the reason. I think I misspelled dismiss. It should be data dismiss, something like this. Okay, save it and once again refresh the page, and now it goes, right? So when you click this X symbol it should disappear. Now if you still face this problem that you refresh the page and when you click this X symbol and your alert doesn't disappear like this, what you can do is, instead of adding your jQuery script at the last, you can add it to the top here, like me. Okay, so by default it will be at the bottom, and if this alert doesn't go, you can just add it to the top here. Okay, and most probably your alert will work with this X symbol. So in the same way you can add this close button to other alerts, something like this, and save it and refresh your page, and it will be added to your alert, and you can close it like this. Okay, hello guys, welcome to the next video on Bootstrap tutorial for beginners. In this video we will see how to use badges and labels in Bootstrap. So first of all we will look how to use badges in Bootstrap. Now first of all, what is a badge? A badge is an indicator which is associated with some component. For example, you want to add a likes button, then you want to associate a numerical indicator, some, for example 5 or 10, how many likes it is associated with, and this is called a badge. So let's see how we can add a badge. For example, we want to add a link, and I will reference it by hash, and then I will close it, and here I will say likes. Okay, and to add a badge you can just add a span here, so span, and close this span and include a class called badge. So class is equal to badge, and then you will just add the number associated with it, for example 10. Okay, so the button is associated with 10 likes, or this link is associated with 10 likes, and refresh it and you will see this link, and this is the badge which says 10, right? In a same way you can add more badges, something like this. For example, comments, and comments is equal to 20. Okay, I save it and refresh my page and it shows here. Okay, now you can use other component to add badges, for example button component. So we will add a button, and in here we will add a type first, which is button itself, and then we will add a class for it, which is btn and btn success, for example. Okay, so btn success, and then you can add, for example, same button for likes, and then you can add a same span and close this span and add a class called badge, and then add the number associated with it, for example 100. Save it and refresh your page, and it will look like this. So button and the badge associated with it. Okay, so in this way you can add badges in Bootstrap. Now we will see how to use labels in Bootstrap. Now labels can be of two types: a label which can be associated with some component, and the standalone label itself. So first of all we will see a label which can be associated with some component. For example, this h1 tag, and this h1 tag says once again likes, and then I will add a span here, and in this span I will add a class called label, and then label, any label you can associate, for example danger, default, or primary success, as it's same as button, right? So for example I will add a default label, and then you can add the indicator associated with it. So it can be a text value or it can be a numerical value. Okay, so just save it and refresh it, and this is your label and this is your h1 text. Okay, so label looks like this. Okay, and in the same way you can add labels for other h tags. For example, this can be h2. Okay, save it and refresh your page, and you can see the size reducing for the labels as our h1, h2, h3 tag changes. Now second way of adding labels, I will just remove this because we don't want it. So the second way of adding labels to your Bootstrap web page is adding them directly. And how to add them directly? You can just add a span here. So just add span and then add a class which is associated with label. So class is equal to label, for example default for now, and your text, for example example text. Okay, and we will save it and refresh our page, and this label default will look like this, example text, we can see here. Okay, or we can add different kind of labels as we can do with buttons. For example, success, so you can associate this label with these type of labels. So just save it and refresh your page, and these labels will look like this. I think link is not a label, so you can remove it and save once again and refresh it, and these labels looks like this. Okay, hello guys, welcome to the next video on Bootstrap tutorial for beginners. In this video we will see how to use modals in Bootstrap. So first of all, what is a modal? Modal is just like a pop-up box or a pop-up window on top of your web page. Okay, so it will appear on top of your web page for showing something, for example for showing some login form or for showing some contact information or anything. So let's see how we can create a modal in Bootstrap. So first of all, go to your HTML code, and in here first of all we will create a button which we will use to open a modal. So just create a button, and in this button this will be first of all type is equal to button, and then the class will be equal to btn, and let's say it's a danger button. Okay, and then we will add some more attributes to it. First is data toggle. So data toggle, and this will be equal to modal. Okay, so just write modal here, and the second attribute we are going to add here is data target, and this will be equal to the name which you will set to reference the modal. So you can just write a hash and define any name of your choice, for example my modal or any other name. Okay, so now using this ID we are going to create or call a modal. Okay, so now we are going to create an actual body of model. So just add a div tag here and add this ID. So we will reference this ID here first of all, which is my model. Okay, so just give it here. The second thing is we will call a class called model fade. So model minus fade. I think this will be only model fade, this kind. And we will define one more attribute here, which will be role, and it's a dialog. Okay, now inside this div tag we will add one more div tag like this. So div, and we will add a class called class is equal to model dialog. So model dialog, this. Okay, now inside this model dialog we will add the content of the model. Okay, so just add one more div element, div, and this time this will be the model content. So add a class called model minus content. Okay, and inside the content it will work like normal body of HTML page, you can say. It has a header and the body and the footer. So we will add three more divs here. First of all, div for the model header. So model, first of all, class is equal to model minus header, and this will contain the header of the model. In the same way we will add two more div. Second is the model body and third is the model footer. Okay, so this is our basic model. You can write something here, something like model header, and here you can write model body, and here you can write model footer. Okay, and save it, and we will refresh our page and we will see this button, and when you click this button it's going to show this model. This button we haven't included anything as a text, so let's add some text to it. So this button is open model. Okay, save it. Once again we are going to refresh our page and just click open model, and it's going to open this kind of pop-up box which has header and the body and the footer. But you will notice here that there is nothing to close this model. Okay, so there should be some X symbol or some close button to close this model. So to add this close symbol or button, what we can do here is in the footer, for example, we want to add this close button. So what we are going to do here, inside the footer we are going to create this button, and inside this, first of all, we will add this type which will be button. Second, we will add a class which will be btn, and for closing let's add btn default, for example, btn default. Okay, and then we will add one more attribute which will be data dismiss. So add this class data minus dismiss, and this will be not with double s, it will be single s, and then just write model here. Okay, and as a text you can write here close, and save it and refresh your web page, and click open modal, and now we have close button which we press and it's closed. In the same way, you can add this X symbol to the header. So just go and copy this button here, and inside the modal header we have this modal header here, and just after this we can add this button, but this time it will be of class close. So just add close, and the text here will be our X symbol. So it's something like and times, like this. Okay, save it and refresh your page and open model, and you see here this X symbol which you click and it will be disappeared. Okay, now one more thing you can add to the header, which is for example this div tag. You can add div, and here you can add a class called modal minus title, and in here you can add your title in any tag, for example h1 tag or any other tag. You can add it. Okay, so save it and refresh your page, and once again open model. It will be like this, but we can see this X symbol is down and this is little bit above. To adjust this, we can just place this div at the bottom, and instead of using this div, you can use h4 tag or h3 tag, something like this. Save it and once again refresh this web page, and now you can see this header, which is a title, and this closing button, and the body. In the body you can add any div, any HTML tag. For example, you want to add a paragraph, you can just add something like this, add a paragraph, and inside this paragraph you can add some text, for example this lorem ipsum, something like this. Save it and close this and refresh it, open modal, and now your text is here. Okay, so in this way you can use modal. One more thing, if you want to use this modal with, for example, about this about navigation bar button, you can do it also. So for example, what we want to do is, with this about button, we want to open this modal. So what we can do, instead of using this button, just copy this data toggle and data target from here and place it in the about list item here. So just add it here in the link tag. Okay, now I'm going to delete this button because we are not going to use it now. Save it and refresh your page, and now when you click this about button, you will see this modal. Okay, and you can close it. So you can call it from here or using any button. Hello guys, welcome to the next video on Bootstrap tutorial for beginners. In this video we will see how to use forms in Bootstrap. So forms generally we use to give some input. So let's get started and let's see how we can create a form in Bootstrap. So first of all, we will create a form element and close it. And inside this form element, first of all, we will define a role for this form, and role is form itself. Okay, and then once again we will define a div tag here, and this tag will be the class called form group, form minus group. Okay, so for every input we can define a form group. For example, we want to create a form for entering the email and password for the user. We can create a different form group for email and password. Okay, so every category in the form is a form group, for example, you can say. And inside a form group, you can define a label first of all. So define a label, and this label will be for email. So for email. Okay, and this we will reference it in the input when we create it. And here we can define the text. So for example, email and colon, something like this. And then we will define the input. So just define a input, and for this input, what we can do is we can define first of all the type of input we want to define, and this type will be email, right? And just call a class called form control. Okay, and now we will reference this id for this. So we will create this id which will be same as this. Okay, so this is one form group, right? And we can save it and we can refresh our web page and it will look like this. So you will get the label and the input for entering the email, right? In the same way, you can create multiple form groups. So I will copy this form group and create one more, but this time this will be for password, pwd. Okay, and this should be equal to this one, id, and the type is password this time. So password, and the text will be password. Okay, save it and refresh it, and now you can see password, right? Now for adding a checkbox, what you can do is you can add one more div tag here, and then inside your div tag, first of all, call a class called checkbox. So checkbox. Okay, and inside this div element we will just create a label, and this label will be for the checkbox, right? And inside this label we want to create a checkbox. So what we can do here, we can create an input of type checkbox. So input, and this input will be of type checkbox. So just write type is equal to checkbox, and then you can give any input name or text here. So for example, click me. Okay, and then what you can do is you can define a submit button for submitting your form. So this is simple. You have seen how to create a button earlier also. So just create a button, and this will be of type submit. So just remember that this will be not button but submit, because we are submitting the form, right? And then you can call this button design class, which is btn default, for example. Okay, and now save it and refresh your page, and now you will see this email, password, checkbox. And for the button, let's define some text here. So just we can add submit. Okay, save it and refresh it, and now you have this button. So you have this checkbox, email id, password, and this checkbox and button, right? So this kind of forms are called default forms or horizontal forms. Okay, there are two more kind of forms in Bootstrap, which is inline form and vertical form. So to create the inline form, so for example, you want to make it an inline form instead of this default form, what we can do here is you can add a class called form inline. So class is equal to form inline. So you just need to add this class called form inline and save it, and when you refresh this, it's going to become this inline form. Inline means everything is in the same row, you can say, right? Now there is one more kind of form, and this form is form horizontal. So instead of form inline, you just need to write here form horizontal, but it will not affect, it will be just like your vertical or default form. But if you want that this input should come in front of this email, and this input should come in front of this password label, then what you can do here is, in your label inside the form group, you can add a class and then add control label. So, and then we can add a column class, call minus sm minus, for example, 2. So this will be of width 2. Okay, and you already know that we can add 12 total columns in a Bootstrap web page, and 2 is this one. Then in the remaining 10 we can include our input. So just add a div tag here and add a class to this div tag. So add this div tag around your input like this, and here add a class called call sm. So call minus sm, and we have 10 more columns to use. So you can just provide 10 here and 2 here. So together the sum is 12. Save it and refresh your page, and now you can see this text box is in front of your email. Same you can do for password. So just add this class to your password label, and then surround your input by this div tag for the column width like this. Okay, save it and refresh your web page, and now it will look like this. And for aligning these checkboxes and this button, what you can do is you can surround your checkbox div element. So in the same way you can surround your div element for checkbox like this, and one more div element just below here. And in here we will offset our column by 2, right? So it will be aligned. And how you can do it, you just need to add this attribute to your class, which is call minus sm minus offset minus 2, and this will give an offset of 2 to your checkbox, and then this is of width 10, right? And same we will do with button. So in here we will add a div tag for button and surround it by this div tag, and which is offsetted by 2. Save it and refresh your web page, and now your form is properly aligned. So in this way you can use forms in Bootstrap. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please rate, comment and subscribe, and bye for now.